Hello and welcome to our program Where God Weeps. Today we are here in Rome with Sister Severina Motta, a Canossian missionary sister that spent over 38 years in Africa and 12 of those years in Sudan, where she came to know the story of Saint Bakhita. Sister Severina, thank you for being here with us today.
Thank you very much. The pleasure is mine because my love for Bakhita is very great.
Did you always have a desire to be a missionary sister?
I have always been wishing to be a sister, but not at all a missionary.
How old were you when you first had a sense of your desire?
I think I was a teenager, but I could not take the courage of leaving my countries.
You wanted to be a sister here?
I wanted to be a sister in Italy. I went through a very great struggle until I gave in when I thought it was really Jesus demanding to go among youth who have nobody to take care of them.
Why was it such a struggle to leave? You were afraid?
Because I was too much attached to my family. And so I didn't feel like leaving them.
And what was it that was the turnkey for you where you said, yes, Lord, I go?
Well, it was in a special moment of prayer in the novitiate chapel where I have been for a visit, and there was a big crucifix pointing to some sheep under whose picture there were the words Euntes in universum mundum, go throughout the world. And that finger seemed to point it out, it is your turn to go and join the missionaries. And that's where I gave
And then
in.
you thought, I cannot refuse
anymore. It was a
anymore.
very hard experience, but I must say a rewarding one.
And you wouldn't have done any different now, looking back on your life?
No, I would do the same thing again.
Why did you choose Africa?
Actually, I didn't choose Africa. We go where we are sent. But after having said yes to the Lord, my greatest wish was to be among the poorest, to share their life and work with them to find means and ways to improve it. I must say, I was really rewarded because in all the places I have been, all the essentials of life were missing. No means of communication, no proper roads, no drinkable water, no electricity, only the richness of the people.
Sister, I want to talk a little bit about Sister Bakhita, Saint Bakhita now, who in the community I think you call the Brown Mother.
Yes.
Can you tell us a little bit about
Yes.
Sister Bakhita?
Bakhita was a girl from Darfur, Sudan. At the age of 7, she was kidnapped and sold as a slave. But she didn't accept the situation. With another little girl, she escaped, but she was caught and resold. And this bargain went on 5 times. She passed from a bad master to a worse one until she fell in the hands of the very cruel Turkish officer. This man made her 114 deep cuts on her body. Then they rubbed them with salt and left her in agony for weeks. After this, she was bought by the Italian consul of Khartoum and taken to his country. He gave her as a babysitter to his friend's wife. So in Italy, Bakhita found not only freedom, she found respect and love. But above all, she discovered God. And later on, she was baptized and she asked to enter into our congregation. And in our congregation, where she died in 1947, in Schio, she lived a very simple life, but a life made of goodness, meekness, kindness, and a deep spirituality. No wonder She was made a saint by Pope John Paul II on 1st October 2000.
Well, so she used to sit there when somebody comes who was pushing her, they leave her in the church there.
She was so rich within. She was so strong in her faith. She was so loyal and intelligent, I would say, in her charity, that really could not but be admired by everybody, the small ones and the big ones. She knew how to dialogue with them, how to give hope, how to give advice, because she had a very deep interior life.
I had the impression that I had met an extraordinary woman, a saint. I knew she must have had something special in her. She was so good to other people. Her relationship with them was so simple. She had a great heart. She considered herself unimportant, as nothing, irrelevant, of no value. She was only interested in the fate of other people. She had a great love for the poor. People from Skia held Sister Bakhita in great esteem. They would come here saying, "Mother Moretta, I need this or that. My son is ill. My son is in the war. My husband needs help," etc. They would come here to ask her to pray, for they trusted her explicitly. And in response to her prayer, they would often receive what they had asked for. Indeed, she was held in great esteem by the people of Skia. The war in Italy began on June the 10th, 1940.
La guerra è cominciata qui in Italia. Sono cadute 18 bombe.
19 bombs fell that night on the other bank of the river Liugra. None of them exploded. All of them fell on the fields. People from Skia began to talk, saying, "Nothing will happen to us, since Mother Moretta is with us." And Sister Bakhita reassured them, saying, "Don't worry, nothing will happen to you because you are in Skia. Be good, ask the Lord, and nothing bad will happen." And nothing bad happened.
Non vi allarmate, siate buoni, pregate il Signore e non succederà niente.
Obviously, we have anecdotes also which sound a bit extraordinary, like a woman who was distressed because the son was not coming back from the war, and she was, feeling that he was killed and she was really without hope. And Mother Bakhita said, "Don't worry, you go home. You shall see that your son will come back." She went back, and the son was back, was in the house.
Lei ha raccontato la sua storia, l'ha dettata.
She told us her story. She dictated it to one of the sisters. But she never complained, never said anything like, "Look how much I have suffered, look what they did to me."
Niente, lei la diceva, anche quando si diceva, "Ma come sono stati cattivi quelli lì che l'hanno torturata."
She never complained, even when we pointed out how devious the people who tortured her were.
Nessun lamento verso I suoi negrieri. Anzi,
She never blamed those who persecuted her. More than that, one student from Padua asked her, "Mother Bakhita, what would you do if you saw these slave traders who kidnapped you and who tortured you? What would you do to them?" Bakhita answered, "I would kneel in front of them, because if all this hadn't happened to me, I wouldn't have become a Christian, a nun. Poor fellows, they could not even manage to hurt me." She never blamed anyone, she never complained about all those who persecuted
Non
her.
ha mai avuto nessuna recriminazione per i suoi persecutori. Lei desiderava morire in giorno di sabato.
Her big desire was to die on Saturday,
E di sabato
and so she
notte,
did die on Saturday.
giorni prima,
The day before, she
aveva
said,
detto,
I leave this place,
me ne
I go to the
vado
Father, and I go with
dal
2
Parò.
suitcases.
E vado con
One
due
is ugly
valigie.
because my sins are inside.
Una
The other one is much nicer and bigger
i miei peccati.
because all that Christ had done
E
is
un'altra
inside.
più bella, più grande.
When I meet the Lord, I will say to him, Now I'm going to open my suitcases.
Quando sarò davanti,
Mine will be covered with what the Holy Virgin had done,
dirò,
whilst the other one I will open wide and show to the Lord in such a way so that he will see everything easily. And I will say to him, Lord, look and judge me on what you see. And then she added, I'm sure that everything will be all right. Then I will turn to Saint Peter and say, You can close the door now. I'm staying.
E dirò, adesso chiudi la porta perché mi fermo.
Mother Bakhita died in Italy at the Canossian Monastery in Schio on February 8, 1947. Although she never went back to Africa, she always prayed a lot for the Sudanese people, that all her African brothers and sisters would come to know, love and turn to Christ.
When she died, all the people of Schio went to greet her, to say the last greeting to her. And indeed, they were cutting pieces of her dress, taking them as relics, because they were so sure that she was a saint. One gentleman knew Bakhita, and he said, and Bakhita still saved my family from breaking up. And it was Bakhita who saved it. She so sure that it was Bakhita who intervened and put them together again and gave peace to the family.
After her death, she was greatly venerated, which contributed to her being beatified and then canonized by Pope John Paul II on October 1st, 2000. And so she became the first African woman to be proclaimed a saint.
Abducted and sold into slavery at the tender age of 7, she suffered much at the hands of cruel masters. But she came to understand the profound truth that God and not man is the true master of every human being, of every human life.
Other religions always respond to evil with evil. Christianity, however, always promotes forgiveness. This is what distinguishes our church from the others. And precisely because of that forgiveness, we are gathered here today to celebrate Sister Bakhita. If she hadn't forgiven, we would not be here this day.
We are very proud because a Sudanese African woman has, for the first time, become a saint. This is a great moment for the Sudanese people. I hope that she will not be the only one and that many will follow.
In Saint Josephina Bakhita, we find a shining advocate of genuine emancipation. The history of her life inspires not passive acceptance, but a firm resolve to work effectively to free girls and women from oppression and violence, and to return them to their dignity in the full exercise of their rights.
This event shows us that any woman, any human being, anywhere in the world can become a saint, and that includes women. Women in our country are ignored, considered as something worse than a man. Today, the Church tells us that a woman, a girl, has the same standing as a man.
And I think that message is great for the women of our time now. When I look in the parishes I visit and see there, almost the majority of people are women, and most of them are widows with their children and the children of their sisters and of other people, and they manage to take care of these people so patiently and so with so much care. That I think that God wanted to tell these women that you have a value. I believe that during these years of war, I think there must be hundreds of thousands of Sudanese saints in heaven, but nobody knows that. But at least one that is declared is for us. It looks as if we ourselves have been canonized. It seems that God has chosen just the right time to bring this message to the Sudanese people at a time when they are really suffering and they are in pain, as Bakhita was. And just through Bakhita is telling them, as I was with Bakhita, I'm also with you. And even those who are now persecuting, those who are oppressing and maltreating people, have already been forgiven because she prayed for them. And that makes the Sudan a more united and a more loving community. And we believe that Bakhita will try to unify the Sudanese in herself.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to our program. Today we have the pleasure of welcoming Sister Severina Motta, a Canossian Missionary Sister who has been working tirelessly to spread the message of Sister Bakhita in Sudan and internationally. Sister, can you tell us how Saint Bakhita touched your life?
I must say that Bakhita saved me. Once I fell into a pit, I was really going to die. Nobody could come to help me because the place was a bit outside the center where people were living. At a certain moment, I shouted.
It was nighttime, and it was I think you were saying you were going to a mission at 3 o'clock in the morning.
It was quite early in the morning, so no people were around. As I shouted, nobody came, and I couldn't remain in suspense. I was in suspense.
You were holding yourself up.
Holding myself on two wooden planks. Under me, there was a pit latrine, very deep and very big. So I just said, Bakhita, at least you help me. And I shouted again. First came an old lady, but she couldn't do anything. I was lying down, and she didn't have the strength to lift me up. Soon after came a man wearing a white overall, took me by the hand, pulled me out, and then the man disappeared. We wanted to thank him. We wanted to reward him. No way of finding him. We asked all the people out. Nobody had ever seen him. So really for me, it was a sign that Bakhita wanted me in her own country. Indeed, after that event, a few months later, I was transferred to Sudan.
Sister, Saint Bakhita has not only touched your life, but she has also touched the lives individually of other people around the world. I know of a story about an American prisoner who is on death row, but who has been converted by by Saint Bakhita. Can you tell us about this?
Yes, there was a prisoner on a death row in Oregon. He had been condemned to 1 life death and 2 death penalty. This man was really desperate, and one day he found under the door of his cell a letter coming from a Swiss lady who takes as a hobby to find out through the internet names of people on death row. And she writes to them just to give them a bit of courage, telling them that she's their mother, so she's very close to them. This prisoner called Jeffrey, when he saw the letter, he didn't bother about it. But the letter was always there. So at last he took it, and in order to throw it into the waste paper basket, but it fell off. So in the end, he took it again, opened it, and he read about this lady telling him that she was her mother, that she loved him, and Sister Bakhita loved him too. So he was wondering, who is this Bakhita? First he ignored it, but he was not in peace. So he wrote to this lady asking about Bakhita, and she sent him a pamphlet on her story. He was so much struck by what this girl went through, and being able to forgive and to succeed so much in her life, that bit by bit something changed in him. He asked to be baptized, and now he wants to do something for Sudan. And so from his small cell, he's writing letters. He started a Sudan project in order to get help for the children of Sudan.
I think he's written something like 600 letters, no?
More than 600 letters he wrote. He's also an artist, so he made also artistic work to sell for this purpose. He's also now helping his inmates to get converted, and is really successful. This, I think, is one of the greatest miracles Bakhita could work.
Sister, can you tell us what is the importance of the canonization of now Saint Bakhita to the Sudanese people?
The canonization of Bakhita is first of all a sign and an occasion of pride for both Sudan and its people. First of all, Bakhita was the first Sudanese saint. She was a slave, she was a woman. Her fame spread worldwide. She revealed to the world the best of her own people, and she attracted the attention of the world on the problems and situation of Sudan.
And is it something that when you speak to the Sudanese people about Sister Bakhita and this forgiveness towards her enemies, is this something that they understand and can take to heart in light of all the difficulties that have been happening in Sudan?
I think so, because Bakhita is truly a Sudanese person. And what she revealed and why people love her so much is because she showed the best of her people. And when I arrived in Sudan, it was a moment of terrible struggle and suffering. I myself could not put up with it. And when I asked the people, how can you cope with such a situation? They would say, Sister, don't think that we are the crushed ones. We are the winners, because we can suffer everything without revenge. This interior strength we show is what wins over our own enemies. So we can find this basic attitude in Bakhita and in our own people.
Sister, thank you for being with us here today.
Thanks to you, because it has been a great pleasure for me. For Bakhita's sake, I'm ready for anything at all.
Thank you. And thank you, ladies and gentlemen, for having been with us today in our program. And if you'd like to know more about the story of Saint Bakhita, please look at the contact information at the end of this program. And we look forward to seeing you next time on Where God Weeps.